So my name is Rick McIntyre, and I started in Yellowstone in the spring of 1994, working for the Park Service. My title was Wolf Interpreter. At that time, I was the only ranger with a background of being around wolves. We can talk about the history of wolves in Yellowstone, and part of it is a very sad story, and part of it is a very optimistic story.
Right from the beginning, it created this very immersive, on the ground feeling where I felt like I was invited into the Wolf Watchers group, which I think is really integral to this piece. As the original guide was talking about how the newer guides are great with the public at bringing them in, and how that's so important for the education and dissemination of knowledge about the wolves. And throughout the piece, I just felt the passion infused in this overview of their mission, how they restored the wolves to Yellowstone, and their enthusiasm, their curiosity, and I think most importantly, their camaraderie was over the wolves was just brimming through the piece, just like the wolves have a camaraderie among themselves. And I think the accompaniment with these very awe-inducing images of the wolves helped me understand why they are so passionate about them. And it was all that more engrossing to get to see them, knowing how the population is starting to dwindle a little bit more due to the change in hunting regulations.
A nature documentary focused more on the observers than the actual animal, which I thought was an interesting concept, something I haven't really seen in a documentary before. But it was really great to see their love for these animals and the importance of observing and not interfering in nature and letting the animals be animals without persecuting them for being predators and needing to eat. That message was very strong in this film. And just hearing from each person and feeling the respect that they have amongst each other and the camaraderie was really cool to see as well. Documentary wise, I thought it was really well done. I thought that the messages that we heard from each person each one added a lot to this film. Especially the woman talking about what has happened in 2022 with the wolves being killed, and you just feel her pain when she talks about seeing the puppies and knowing that they're dead now because of the new laws in 2022. So I thought the message, especially with her emotions in that, it really came through and was really powerful.
I think it's, informative on wolves as a whole, but also going into the myriad of different reasons that they're becoming an endangered species, and showing that and communicating it well through this piece. I think it took a beautiful look at wolves, but through an educational standpoint that isn't often looked at. I feel wolves are often, put in this very predatory stance, but this kind of flips that on its head almost, and acknowledges the fact that these creatures, they're running out of resources, and they're running out of ways to remain predators, as in like their prey is like dying off, and they're not going to be able to survive. Yeah, overall, a really informative piece, a really beautiful piece. I really like watching wolves.
Thought that it presented its ideas very clearly in a way that was very to the point. And there was a decent variety of perspectives within the film, within the wolf watchers themselves. Lots of different types of people kind of brought together over this common interest, and we get to see their opinions on the various issues brought up throughout the film. And I think those differing perspectives are helpful and are useful to a film like this. Going on to the visuals of the film, I thought that they were great. I loved the shots of all the landscapes of not just the people watching the wolves in these amazing vistas here, but also just the shots of the wolves themselves, seeing what the subjects of the documentary are seeing. And I thought that this film was a really nice exploration of something that's pretty niche, something that I'm noticing with a lot of the films that I'm watching here. They take a subject that you don't typically hear much about or wouldn't really know to look into, and present them in a way that's interesting and that makes you kind of want to learn more about it. And this film was something that stood out for me, especially as someone who has been to Yellowstone. I did not get to see any wolves. I wish I did, and this made me wish I did even more. Um, but it was nice to get some more of the history of the wildlife in that area and get some information about the current situation now. As someone who has been there and who has seen it and who really enjoyed that experience.
I thought it was really beautiful. I thought it was really, really showcased well, of not just making it all about the wolves, but really did explain the history of it and why it's important and why these people feel so passionately about it. And also getting to show them doing their thing with each other, finding the wolves, sharing the information, and that it isn't just like an older generation, it is breaching generations, and there are younger people that are involved in this and want to be involved in this. Um, I thought it was really, really fun. I enjoyed learning about it and watching it.
This one was an amazing learning opportunity for me regarding a hobby tourist attraction in Yellowstone, wolf watching, and the uniquely interesting people that dedicate their lives to preserving and teaching others about how wolves interact in the wild. And it must be magnificent to see these creatures in their wild habitat and how they interact with their own species and how they hunt for living, for surviving. It is appalling to see or hear that hunting wolves for fun was back to being legal and with no limitations whatsoever. It is something that people still enjoy doing and find it okay to do it at some parts in the world. I'm also glad to see people taking interest, and especially younger generations. We need all the help we can get regarding preserving our um, nature creatures and their ecosystems like the woods. And it was just moving, and the appreciation of this wolves that people show in the film, and the people that are attracted to this tourist section. I also would love to do that.
I always say the strength of a documentary rides on the subject matter, and this is really interesting subject matter because, like, it really changed my perspective on like wolves or whatever. Like, I thought they were just like predators, and I never even heard of like wolf watching before. As like an activity or anything like that, or I never even considered that as a thing. And so this showed me that new activity and new experience, and really changed my perspective on wolves. So and like I feel like that is a mark of an effective documentary. So good job. Um I also really like the shots, like the nature shots. Some of those nature shots were really dope, of the wolves and stuff. And I'm always in awe and respect of filmmakers who can capture authentic nature shots like that, because I know it cannot be easy, especially as cold as it is out there. So
It's nice seeing that side of nature where you don't really see that much. The population of the wolves being so important, and like that's something I hadn't known before when I visited Yellowstone. Um, but I didn't know about these programs like the wolf watching programs, and this guy who's been doing it for so long, and this these two newer people who are much younger than everyone else, but they're so passionate about it, and it's great seeing hope for the future even after those politics reversals where they're like it's okay to kill the wolves now, and but they're still fighting for the wolves, and that's great to see. And it's great to see how this was created as well, in a way to inform people about everything happening here.